Oh, hello everyone. Hi. Can you hear me? Can you see me? All good and well. Yes, I'm noticing that this aspect ratio is a bit strange. Let's just go ahead and expand that for the time being. Don't know why that's doing like that. Okay. Anyway, also, yes, I know it's very close. Yep, there we go. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Hey, how's it going, guys? Okay. Hello, friends and people. Setsuna, Pixel, the Raz Al Ghul, what's going on there? Captain Chase, Razi Jiku, Art of Godu, Skylar, Vigil, Danny. Hello, everyone. Yes. Hello there. Yes. How would you rate the Ver.Ka to OG Zeta? Well, if you're talking OG, if they're comparing this to the 1.0, I mean, kind of no contest there. The 1.0, I think, is still, it's still a worthwhile kit. I mean, feel free to go back and check out my review for that kit if you're so inclined. But yeah, I mean, obviously, this is going to be the far superior kit between the two, but I think there's definitely still, what do I say, value in the old one. It's not like just because this kit exists, the 1.0 is completely useless. To most people it will be, yes, but not to everyone by any means. So okay, as you may have seen from last week, we left off here with this much done: the head, the torso, the waist section, and one of the arms. So I'm going to finish the other arm real quick, and then we'll do the legs and backpack and weapons. That's what's on the agenda today. If I can get my instruction manual to stand up here. Excuse me. Thank you. All right. So let's get into it. Any further questions you guys may have developed over the weekend, feel free to let me know as we're getting into this. But of course, as always, if you guys have questions, if you're putting it in the chat and I'm not seeing it and you want to make sure that I see your question, feel free to put your question in all caps, just so that it's easier for me to pick out in the chat, so long as you're not spamming the caps lock and bothering other people. I don't mind. If you guys want to use that to help get my attention, that's fine. Hey, what's up? Nowhere Luke on Twitch there as well. If you guys didn't know, yes, I'm also streaming on Twitch. Taking a break from my PGS Stray Red. Just have one leg to complete. As tall as my RG new. Oh, you're talking about? I thought you meant like the kit itself was as tall as your RG new. I thought no. I thought it's bigger than that. But yeah, you're talking about the leg of the PGS Stray being that tall. Yes, indeed. They're certainly quite large. Is that your first perfect grade, I'm wondering? I mean, just because you're surprised at the size doesn't mean that it's your first. I mean, every time I build a PG, I feel like I'm kind of reminded of just how big they are. But all right, let's see. What else is going on here? What kit lane would you suggest to make a full armor Gundam Mark II? I'm guessing like kind of which kit line, maybe, I think was the word you're meaning to go for there. For making a full armor Gundam Mark II, I mean, I think HG would probably be the easier way to go, to be honest. For like just custom builds in general, especially when you're dealing with when kit bashing is going to be a big part of your custom build, HG is probably always going to be the easiest, just because for a couple reasons. Number one, you have so much available to you in 1/44 scale. So like, but just between different kits available, option parts available from Bandai. Bandai doesn't really make a whole lot in 1/100 scale. So you've got a lot more stuff available for you in 1/44 scale for kit bashing and custom parts, scratch build parts, and things like that. Another advantage of using HGs for kit bashing is that, for the most part, you don't have an interframe to deal with. Now, that's not always necessarily true with certain like IBO kits. For example, you have a little bit more of an interframe going on, or with certain master grade kits, you might have not that much of a master grade, like an older master grade, like the one that I'm working on for the Trash to Treasure series at the moment. As an older master grade that doesn't really have a whole lot of frame to worry about. Now, what I'm doing for that particular build, I especially don't need to worry about the frame, but generally speaking, just working around an inner frame or not is something that you should also consider when wanting to do a scratch build project. So yeah, I mean, if you want to make a full armor Mark II, if that was something that I was gonna do, I would try to make it in HG. Yeah, I would use the HG for that. But that's my perspective on that. Okay, so once we get that in there, we can do this. Okay, I'm packing my kits to move back home from uni, so not quite the same kind of project. David says, packing kits is always fun too. I should do, I don't think I've done a video about like how to downsize your boxes for like easier storage, but never like done a video. I don't think I've ever done like a proper video on like how I pack kits for moving. I've certainly moved a number of times that I have some experience that might be useful to some people on that topic, so I should probably make that video at some point. This part's not quite fitting together, and I wonder why. Oh, excuse me. Didn't take us long to get to a point where I'm already having to take this apart and check it again, just because, as you guys may have seen from last week, last Friday, this kit can be a little bit complex at times, and this particular part is surely making me scratch my head, as both sides actually have this issue that these parts are leaving a little bit of gap right here, and I think I know maybe what might be the problem, because it seems like it's not quite tight there. And I wonder why that is. There's a number of parts that kind of all have to fit together just right. There we go. I mean, that seems like that's in, but now that part's not in. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, between like the yellow part and that part, and there's just a few things kind of all working together that you gotta have it in there just right. There we go. And also needs to be up and clicked into place. I think was the key there that I was kind of messing up a little bit on. But anyway, okay. Hey guys, hey Chris. Forget the technical term, so undernubs we'll have to do. Oh yeah, if you guys are asking about undergating, yes, I do need to try to remember to mention that in the review. I was going to make a note of that because I always forget to talk about it, because to be honest, it's not something that I really care that much about personally, but I know a lot of people do kind of pay attention to whether a kit has undergating or not. And so I was going to make a note to remember to mention about that. But yeah, somebody asked about this on the live stream on Friday, and hardly any of this kit is undergated at all. I mean, very, very little of the kit is undergated. So if that's something that matters to you, you know, something to keep in mind, I guess. And it's definitely going to matter if and when they make the like a titanium version or some sort of plated version of this, because you pretty much guarantee that Bandai is going to make something like that. I think they've made like titanium versions of like all of the main line Ver.Ka master grade kits, so you can assume that they're going to do the same with this one. And at which point, yeah, it's not going to be great just because hardly any of the kit is undergated. It's kind of weird. I mean, because it's kind of pretty common knowledge that Bandai likes to do plated versions of these kits, so it's kind of weird that they didn't think ahead and plan that properly, but for whatever reason, there's not much undergating here. Okay. That shouldn't have done that. All right, undergates. Yep, that's what it is. And this one goes here. Kind of weird that this piece. Oh well, okay. Never mind. I see why they did that. Okay. So in here, the construction of this shoulder armor is certainly quite interesting. To make it so that you could put the yellow piece as a separate part in there and avoid any stickers. It's nice and kind of interesting how this is designed, very intricately designed to accommodate for the yellow parts especially. Then we have this piece that fits in the back, which you would think it's kind of like mostly on the back side, so they would want it to be in like that gray color of the inner frame. But because just a little bit of this makes up kind of this blue line around the edge of that shoulder armor piece, so they made the part in blue instead. All right, now let's see. So here, this vent piece, another example of something being in yellow. The vent piece there. That goes up like that. And then we can finish off our shoulder. Maybe. If I can get this in there. There we go. Okay. I have the 2.0 version of the Zeta. What makes this kit so special? Great question. Make sure to tune into the review to find out. No. It's quite a bit different, to be honest. I mean, if you're happy with your 2.0, I understand like not being in a huge rush to want to go out and get this kit, but I'll tell you that it is quite a bit different. I mean, if you're a fan of the Zeta, in my opinion, I think it's justified having both versions. If you like, even if you already have the 2.0, I mean, is it really worth it for you to get this one? I would say yeah. There's quite a bit different about it, and I've been kind of surprised along the way just how different this kit is from the 2.0, because I was expecting it to be like different aesthetically on the outside, but on the inside kind of basically the same, right? But there's quite a bit different both inside and out with this one. I think once you see it next to, I mean, and you don't necessarily have to tune into my review to see this, because there's already been plenty of reviews, just like images, photos online showing the kits side by side, so you can see kind of how they compare just on the outside. But I plan on focusing quite a bit of the review kind of covering this kit on its own, but then also focusing quite a bit on what sets this kit apart from the Ver.Ka, from the 2.0. So we will talk at length about that. But there's a lot, yeah. Okay. The hands are really cool for one. But just the articulation that this kit has. The aesthetic is obviously going to be like the big main thing, but honestly, there's a lot. The lack of Hyper Mega Launcher makes it special. Yeah, I mean, that is unfortunately one of the very few downsides of this kit. I mean, honestly, I don't really know at this point for building it what else at all, if anything, would necessarily really be much of a downside of this. But yeah, I guess if you had to pick one thing, yeah, I'm certainly with you on that. That I'm disappointed that did include the Hyper Mega Launcher. Just for a build experience, I mean, there's a lot here. Let me see here. Oh. All right, starting on the legs then, shall we? LBS, yes, everybody is basically kind of everybody's expecting that the Hyper Mega Launcher is going to be a P Bandai set, and I think that's probably right, but I'm still, I don't know how they're going to release that. I mean, yes, it'll probably be P Bandai in one way or the other, but the question is if it's going to be like a thing on its own. I think it's kind of like too small a thing to be released just on its own, for them to release just the Hyper Mega Launcher. So that's what I'm thinking about it. And so the next question is then, okay, if I'm right about that, then what are they going to release with the Hyper Mega Launcher? Or is it just going to be another version of the Zeta? It could be something like they did with the HG, how they had like the 0088 version of the HG that came out. They might do something like that with this kit and then release the Hyper Mega Launcher in that version. Or it could be a standalone thing on its own. It's possible, but I'm kind of thinking that it's going to be something else. Okay, that's not even the right part for this. It is E. Should be a gray piece, but it's not that one, right? Let's see. It's quite a lot of pieces here just for one leg, as you can see. Oh, here it is. Sometimes the size that flew across the room. All right, and I'm getting a phone call. Hang on just a second, guys. Yeah, it was spam. Okay. All right. As we were saying, the opposite of this piece is. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think that, assuming that the Hyper Mega Launcher is going to be something released as a P Bandai item, is it going to be something they're going to release on its own, or is it going to be part of some kind of set? I don't know. Parts flying everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't land. Oh, the main camera froze. Okay. Yeah, I wish I could tell you guys why it does that, but I just don't know. So bear with me a moment. We're gonna switch to here. Hello. And do this. Let's see. Actually, go in here and switch like that. So that. Hypermecha launcher will probably include a stand and effect parts. That's an interesting idea, yeah. Could be something along those lines. I think will be with us with a similar display stand to the 2.0, the launcher as a set. Yeah, that's a good guess. Then the question is, do you think they'll make a new like launch display base, or will they just use the same one from the 2.0? Because I have a feeling that the Hyper Mega launcher, if and when we get it, it's just going to be the 2.0 Hyper Mega launcher. They're not going to make a new one. Is kind of what I'm thinking. So let's see. Because if you guys saw, okay, all right. Hello, hello. Okay. You can still hear me, right? Yeah, because I'm noticing that something's going very strangely over here. That even now both cameras are not working. Yeah, okay, so you can still hear me. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, while I'm trying to figure out the camera, I can still talk to you. So yeah, I think that if you guys saw the magazine that I reviewed over the weekend, the issue of Hobby Japan that had a big feature about the Zeta Ver.Ka, it showed it with the Hyper Mega launcher from the 2.0. So what I'm thinking is they're not going to make a Ver.Ka version of the Hyper Mega launcher. If and when we get it, it's probably just going to be a repackaged 2.0 version of that, which is unfortunate. And so yeah, if that's the case, that it's going to be coming with like the launch base, then it could be they're just repackaging the launch base and the Hyper Mega launcher from the 2.0 and then just selling that as a P-Bandai set for the Ver.Ka. And it'll come with like Ver.Ka decals. That'll be the difference between the two. It's kind of what I'm thinking is going to be the case with this. So, okay. Here we go. I think I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Now we're back in business. Okay, yeah, I think I pressed something wrong. My bad. Anyway. Okay, as we were saying about this, okay, we got the ankle joint built. And now moving on to the foot. So yeah. We'll see about that. It is just a shame that we didn't get a new Hyper Mega launcher with this that matches this kit. That's the extent of that, huh? And then this piece, okay, goes over the top of that. Very nice. This piece over there. Very nice construction there for the feet. I mean, it may not be something that you'd think is that big of a deal, like how the foot is put together, but actually it's kind of nice. We have another one of our silver plated pieces here. Two of them actually that go in the foot. One that goes in the bottom of the foot here, and then another one that goes in the top part, as you'll see in just a moment. Got our other red piece here. So I do really like, the Zeta Gundam design in general is still, it's still one that I'm just not that huge on, but the design of this kit is really, really nice. So I just like that, like how fresh and angular it is. Like I know some people were complaining about the lack of detail on this, but I really like the aesthetic of this just being just all the angles just being really sharp and crisp, and like all the detail being really sharp, and then just like the way the parts are all fitting together, not having any seam lines and things like that, of course, is nice. Not too surprising there. It's a 2023 master grade. You wouldn't expect to have stuff like that, but it's just going together and looking so nice just as a model kit, even though the design of the Gundam itself is not really one of my favorites. This is a really good looking kit. So there's our foot. One of them, anyway. All right, let's see. Feet pics, please. Of the Gundam, of course. What? You don't want to say my feet? No, Christopher. There's not going to be any twerking. So I allowed the comment a few times. I think I've seen it now. But that's the last one I'm going to give you before I'm going to put you in a comment timeout. So no more twerk comments, please. And thank you. Okay. Now we're building the leg frame. Let's see if we can do this without messing anything up. Let's see if we can build both legs without messing anything up. And seeing as how many parts there are for the legs and how complex I'm guessing they're going to be, just based on how complex everything else has been so far, I think it's going to be somewhat of a challenge for me, but let's see. So far, so good. Even though we just got the foot and part of the frame so far, but let's see. Let's stay hopeful. I'm not going to mess anything up here. Let's see. That goes there, and this goes here. Yeah, I mean, the construction of the frame so far, and certainly including this part at the moment that I'm building, yeah, it's just very different. Very different indeed from past versions. All right, the trick is figuring out which part that is. There we go. All right, any estimates for when this is arriving at USA Gundam Store? Mine is bundled with my order of the full mechanics aerial, so I'm hoping they arrive together. This kit, at least the first batch of them, I believe we're hoping is gonna arrive sometime later this week. Although, you know, I can't say that for sure, 'cause we don't know that for sure yet, but you know, based on our kind of the last estimate that I've heard at the moment, we're hoping that it's going to come sometime this week. But the full mechanics aerial, though, I've not heard anything about yet, so I don't know if those are coming together. I don't believe so, so that might hold up your order a little bit, but they shouldn't be too far behind if they're not coming together. All right, I don't even know what this part is. Okay, this is like a frame part for the lower part of the leg. Yeah, okay, interesting. All right. Let's see. Hey, Zach, please see if they made the Hyper Mega Launcher from the Zeta 2.0 compatible with the Ver.Ka in Wave Rider mode. Okay, in Wave Rider mode, I'll have to check. I would assume it would be, but yeah, and I don't remember if that was shown in that Hobby Japan issue, as I was just kind of mentioning about a second ago, where it did show the Gundam with the Hyper Mega Launcher from the 2.0. I don't believe that it did in Wave Rider mode, so it may not be. It's a good question. That's a pretty niche inquiry. I have to imagine not too many people will really be all that concerned with that, but I will try to remember that. Okay. I feel like I'm moving too fast through this. I need to slow myself down. So far, it's going okay. I don't think I'm getting anything wrong, but it feels like it's going too quickly compared to how the rest of the construction has gone so far, especially since this is the first of 2 legs. If the second leg was going this fast, then I wouldn't be too concerned, but the first one going sort of quickly is making me a bit nervous up until now that I can't find this one particular piece here. J. Okay, it's not a white piece. Okay, that's why, because it's black. It's that odd black piece in the back of the leg that the Zeta Gundam has for some reason. Like the only black on the mobile suit is on the backpack, and then for whatever reason there's a random black detail on the back side of the leg. Let me see if I can get this. Okay. Got it. Alright. So far, so good. And we can start putting some of these sections together here. Let's do that. This one goes here. This one goes here. That one there. No, that's definitely backwards. Okay. No wonder it was fitting strangely. There we go. Now, it's gonna be kind of weird. All right, we got it. Okay, so far so good. Now we can put the foot in there. That's strange that that part is so far pointed down. But I suppose that's right. Like that. Hey Zach, is Double Zeta interesting? Mike, if you're asking me about the anime, I couldn't tell you. Or maybe I can tell you because I did start watching Double Zeta and I never finished it. So that may tell you something there as to how interesting it is. But I don't think that I stopped watching it because it was not interesting. I think I stopped watching it just because, I don't know, I got to doing something else and just kind of, I don't know, yeah, I guess I was, I mean, if it was super interesting, I wouldn't have stopped watching it, I suppose. But yeah, I just never got around to finishing it. I think I got about 20 episodes in, something like that. If you're asking about the model kit and not the Gundam, or not the anime, if you're meaning to ask about the model kit, I mean, then the master grade Ver.Ka Double Zeta is also very nice. Yeah. Another one where I don't really care that much for the design itself, but the kit was very nice. Sorry for writing it again, but I don't know if you saw it. But okay, let me see. We'll make sure to see it this time from Hybrid AP64. Have you made any videos or plan to make any videos on how to paint ABS plastic? I've not really made any videos specifically about that just because for me, when it comes to painting ABS plastic, I don't do anything special. You do have to be a bit more careful with it, but I mean, honestly, I just kind of just do it and just hope for the best. Usually it's fine. I have like had pieces crack, but generally speaking, as long as you don't move the model kit around too much after you're done painting it, like, you know, hate to say the old kind of expression of, you know, it is a model kit. I don't know if it's not really an expression, but just kind of the thing that I know some people don't like to hear. But yeah, it's a model kit at the end of the day. It's not a toy, so don't play with it. Just paint it and, you know, leave it alone and it should be fine. You shouldn't have any trouble with the ABS plastic. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know what else you can really do even for that, to be honest, as far as like any special precautions. I mean, I guess you could shoot, I don't know, use a particular primer, I suppose, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Somebody else in the chat may have a better answer for you. Sorry, I can't give you any better answer than that. But it's just kind of one of those things that I think you just have to deal with and be careful with. So this part right here, this white part that goes right around here, that's like the only part that I can remember that was undergated at all. So just speaking on the undergating question that was asked earlier. So that's it for the leg. And I have to say, very nice and interesting, the construction of that. Yeah, from what I can tell so far, let me just put together this part here at the top as well. So that goes in there like that. And even though the manual doesn't have you put the beam saber in the side skirt bit here until much later, I'm just going to go ahead and put it in right now. Goes in there. And this part. And so last Friday, if you guys recall, I didn't have all of the parts prepped for this kit yet. So over the weekend, I took the kit home and I was going to finish prepping all the parts before the live stream today. But I didn't have time until last night. And then last night, I was going to do that last night before bed, but I was just really tired. So I just wanted to just go to bed. Last night, I did like yesterday for like the first half of the day, I was just like doing yard work all day. So I was really, really tired and decided I'll just finish up getting all the parts ready today here in the office while I'm at work. So that's why, other than this live stream, I don't have a video prepared for you guys. I was gonna have a review of the HG Zawart Heavy. I was gonna record that review in the morning and then edit that and post it so that it would post for you guys for this evening. But that time that would have been dedicated to that in the morning, I had to dedicate to finishing getting all the parts ready for this. And the reason that I share with you guys that story is just to tell you that even though I am still kind of tired today, to be honest, I'm looking forward to a very nice, relaxing build session at home tonight, assuming that I don't, again, like just feel completely drained. But hopefully I will not, because I am looking forward to it. I do really like to just kind of relax and build at home at night, so long as I'm not super tired, right? Yard work always ends up taking longer than you think it will. Yeah, that's the thing with yard work, Chris. I mean, like, one of the things that I've had to, become painfully aware of as a homeowner now, compared to when I was living in Korea, where I just lived in an apartment, so I don't have to take care of anything outside of the apartment, right? Yeah, one of the things is just the fact that it's not that necessarily that the yard work takes longer. It's just the fact that there's never any end to it, right? It's kind of like this for me. Just there's never, this is not the kind of work that you can do, like for me, for what I do, like with this, there wouldn't ever be any end. It's not like if, for example, I was an accountant and I had a certain amount of stuff I had to do for my job for that week. I could, in theory, be done with that, right? And then I'm kind of done and I'm caught up, right? That kind of doesn't really exist, at least not for me. I don't know, in my mind, in the way that I think about doing this work, right? Being a content creator. There's always more that I feel like that I want to do and that I could be doing. Like that's kind of always in my mind. So, yard work is similar, right? There's always something more to do. So yeah, I did end up spending more time than I had planned on yesterday. So like I had to. So what it started with was that I had to mow the backyard. I mowed the front yard a couple days ago, and then I needed to mow the backyard. So mow the backyard. And then I had to clear some like small trees and vegetation and stuff, which is kind of like behind our fence. So I thought, well, it's not like too hot yet, so I'll go back there and start clearing that stuff out and start working on that. And so I went back there, and then I was just spent a lot more time doing that than I had originally planned to at the start of the day. So yeah, just stuff like that happens. And then if I would have not stopped doing that, I mean, I could have then gone around and done some other yard work on some other part of the yard and some other work on some other part of the yard. There's plenty to do. Yep. I feel like it's an expression. Like I was actually just thinking about this yesterday evening, that like just with talking with my neighbors and stuff in the neighborhood, it's funny how often you hear people use the expression of saying like, it's always something. It's like when you're talking to people about like what you're doing at your house, what you're doing with your yard, it's like the expression that people just always say. I feel like I always hear this, people saying it's always something, because it is. But and I was just thinking like at the same time how kind of what's the word, privileged an expression is. Like, I mean, it's getting like these days it's getting like more and more difficult to even be a homeowner. So I mean, like, we're very lucky to even have our own home and have a fairly nice house and everything. So it's definitely kind of a privilege to be able to say, like, halfway jokingly, it's always something, there's always something to fix, there's always something to do at home. Like, there's a lot of people that don't even have the opportunity for one reason or another to even be in that position. So anyway, it's just something that I thought about yesterday. But yes, it certainly is always something that needs to be fixed or that needs attention. So what makes it difficult is like having young kids. I feel like it'd be easier to spend more time working on stuff in your yard or house or whatever when you're not also trying to spend time with your kids on the weekend, because like work during the week, you just like have the evenings to spend with your family, and then even that time you got chores and cooking, cleaning, things you have to do throughout the week. So you want to be able to spend the weekends with your family, especially if you have young kids, but there's always a lot to keep up with. So yep. Anyway, it's very off topic, but just kind of a little side tangent there for you guys. Those of you who are parents, I'm sure you can relate. All right. So far, we made it through the first leg, and I'm already kind of like, I don't know, getting close to halfway done here with the second leg without messing anything up. So it's going pretty well. I guess maybe I'm just getting used to the build, if that makes sense, where kind of like the first half just kind of caught me off guard, like it being kind of more complex than what I'm kind of generally used to from Bandai kits, even Bandai Master Grade kits. So maybe that's what it was. But for whatever reason, certainly had a number of pitfalls at the start. And let me just see. I may have done something wrong here. Uh-oh. I may have spoke too soon on that, but let me just see. Oh, no. Fortunately, I didn't, but it was only by accident that I didn't mess up that part. So there's this part here in the foot. One of the things that I'll be interested to test out with this kit is how well it can stand up on its own, because that's one thing that we saw with the 2.0. It was very back heavy, didn't want to stand up on its own very well. Anyway, there's this part here in the ankle joint that where the foot plugs into there, it has to be a certain way, and it's either one way or the other. And fortunately, I put it in the correct way the first time, but it was not on purpose. I definitely didn't notice that. So could have been a big oops. I would have had to take apart to get to this. Is like I would have had to take apart the entire leg almost. So really dodged the bullet on that one. Okay. No kids, no pets, just Gunpla. Well, you're in a very, I don't want to say fortunate position, but you're in a position where you should be thoroughly enjoying your time. Not that like, oh, once you have kids, you're not going to enjoy your time anymore. That's not what I mean to say. I just mean that it certainly becomes something that you're going to need to and want to devote a lot more of your time to, once you're married and have kids and all that good stuff. So it is all certainly for the best, but just gotta have the right state of mind. Now, the only real difference with the legs is the very top part. So the whole lower portion of the leg, you actually build twice. Just because of the way that I separated out the parts, I separated out all the parts for the left and right side. But, had you been building this in a different way, like truly following the manual, you would build the leg basically up to this point. Oh, the main camera's frozen again. Task failed successfully. Yeah. Let's see. It's definitely an issue with OBS, so I can tell you guys, because on my camera here, it's still live. It's still fine. So it's either an issue with OBS or it's an issue with my what do you call it? Between the camera and the computer. What's it called? Yeah. So let me switch again to this camera for the moment. I don't think I'd want to live without pets, Mr. Bobobo said. Camera froze. Thank you for the heads up. Yeah. So I don't know what it is with that. Yeah. And I would assume it's probably not OBS. Ooh. Right. And then my OBS just suddenly restarts right when I say that. So maybe it is, but don't know. Okay. Anyway, as we were saying, okay. Put that aside. Oh, so what I was going to show you guys is that you build the leg all the way up to here twice, and then it's from this point that you build the left and right side. So the top part of the thigh will be different just because of the way that the connection. The thigh ultimately really is the same. They could have had you build that twice, and just the part of the top. Well, I guess you build the very top part differently. You just kind of turn it around a different way, and the sides of the lower leg are obviously different there. So. All right. Okay, so that's the right leg. Let's turn to left leg. yeah, I hope that later this evening I'm not feeling too tired, because I'm looking forward to a nice relaxing evening. You know what would be really great is if it rained this evening. That's really the best. Chilling out at home, putting together a kit with the rain. The sound of the rain, the cool breeze would be just great. Let's check the weather. I don't think I'm gonna be that lucky. I think it's supposed to rain like next week and not any time at all this week. No, maybe Thursday, I guess, but definitely not tonight. Unfortunate. Okay. Why did the competition date get extended? Inland Empire Gundam asked. So yeah, I just extended that just because a few people had asked me to please extend the deadline, just because they would like some more time to work on their entries. So I said, okay. Yep. And if it was like one person asked me, I, wouldn't have done it. But it was the fact that a number of people asked me, and we have so many entries. It's well over 200 people have entered. So, again, not everybody will finish. But even assuming that, say, for example, only 50% do, that's still well over 100 that we should have completed entries. So I think this is, how is this black part supposed to be extended up? Does that not? Does that only? Is that not supposed to be extended up? Oh, I guess not. Maybe it's only for when it's transformed. That black part gets extended up. Okay. Right. Anyway. Arkenhall, hello. Hey. Usually the rain makes me sleepy here in Jersey. We've had nonstop rain for a week, which is rare. Yeah, it seems like we've had much less rain than what's kind of the norm, or either that or I don't know, maybe starting soon we'll start to see a bunch more rain, but so far this year hasn't been that much from what I can tell, and just from talking with people and neighbors who are more Floridian than I, it's been a little bit scarce. I'm sure it's only a matter of time. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay. I was getting that kind of turned around and confused for a second there. So, once we got the thigh parts on and that part on, this yellow vent piece, this white piece here for the front, this blue piece, and the blue piece is kind of interesting. Once you have that, the side parts up here, they kind of like tuck in the connections. Quite delicate little connection there. So use caution with that. Then this yellow piece here, this white piece covers the whole thing. Very nice. All around on the other side. White piece first. Then yellow piece. Then this one. Wait a minute. Okay, that doesn't count as a mess up, does it? I guess it does. Dang. We almost made it for putting both legs together without messing anything up, but I think that does count as a mess up because I forgot a piece, and I'm having, I guess if I have to use the part separator, it certainly counts as a mess up. So darn, sorry guys, I thought I could do it, but forgot this, which is a pretty substantial piece here. This gray one right there, and then this fits over the top of that. All right. Anyway, fortunately, it was an easy fix. So there we go. Now our legs are done, and we can put this on here. One of the things that surprised me quite a bit about the comparison between this and the version 2.0 is like the hip section and like with the way the skirt, like the location of the side skirt armor sort of is quite a bit different if you look at the two of them side by side. But I can tell you, I think it's gonna have still at least part of the same stance issues that the 2.0 had, but let me see if I can wiggle this around a bit to get a more solid stance out of this guy. So the nice thing is that we have a lot more articulation with this version in general. So there's a lot more stuff that we can move around with this compared to the 2.0. So while I think you should be able to get it to stand just fine, the question is if it's gonna like look right standing up, or if it's got to have like the legs kind of bowed backwards in order to get the angle just right, because you can like even adjust it forward a little bit there and kind of make some adjustments here. It's definitely still leaning back on the ankles though, which is the issue with the 2.0, and I guess it's just due to the transformation. Just because of the way the transformation works, it's just kind of always going to be kind of leaning back on the ankles. Kind of hard to design around that, I guess. But let's see. It's kind of doing it. It's still definitely leaning back though. Trying this out here. How could this happen to me? I've made my mistakes. Yes? All right, let's put the backpack together and then we'll try a standing test again, because this will certainly have an effect. Okay. All right. Who is in a buying holding pattern between 2.0 and Ka, waiting for Zach's review? Goose, I mean, if I could tell you right now, I would say to just go for the Ver.Ka. I mean, the only reason that I would say to get the 2.0 is if you prefer the design of the 2.0. Or if you really want the Hyper Mega Launcher. And if you do prefer the design of the 2.0, because it is a little bit different aesthetically, and if you really want the Hyper Mega Launcher, then I would say then yeah, just get the 2.0, because it's still a really good solid kit, even though it's now 18 years old. It's still really nice. It's got its own issues, and there's certainly a lot more pluses and like the pros and cons. I think there's definitely a lot more pluses here with the Ver.Ka, but you know, just depends on what you want. And if you want that 2.0 aesthetic and that Hyper Mega Launcher, then that's just the way you gotta go. So Double Zeta is the Fat Joe of mobile suits. Probably more like the DJ Khaled of mobile suits. You guys get what I mean. That makes sense? Alright. It definitely seems, and this is something I'll have to look at, because I didn't notice this in the comparison images that I've seen so far, but just at a glance, now that I'm putting the backpack together, it feels like the wings of this backpack, are like this part of the backpack is a little bit smaller than it is on the 2.0. C18. Okay. Is that true, or am I just making that up in my mind? Is this part actually somewhat smaller? Hmm. How does that work? Okay. Zach, bro, is this live or am I in the future? You are live now. Now. What you're seeing is happening now. Okay, next up. We've got... not that one. This one. And... not that one. It is that one. Okay. Interesting. So this is for the landing gear. Is it? Question mark? Don't know. Let's see, I'm just gonna get some of this stuff out of the way. Because where is this part that I'm looking for? J. So it's a black part. No. Yeah, was the J runner black? Yes, and they were in the wrong spot. That's why I couldn't find that. Yeah, I believe this is for the landing gear. That's another cool thing that this one has that the 2.0, oddly enough, did not have landing gear. Right? I believe that's correct, right? The 2.0 didn't have landing gear. I keep thinking that, and I keep like second guessing myself, thinking like, wait, man, there's no way that the 2.0 didn't have landing gear. But yeah, I don't think that it did it? Because I remember building that and thinking like, oh wow, the 1.0 had landing gear. How come the 2.0 doesn't? But I don't know. Yeah, I keep second guessing myself, thinking like, wait, there's no way that it just wouldn't. Let's see, that's I11 and that's I12, so it is different. Okay. And this one's right. The landing gear on the 2.0, if I remember correctly, it was on the HML. Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, the only like kind of real landing gear that it had was on the Hyper Mega Launcher. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think that's correct. Hello, Lamb Chop. Hello there on Twitch. Nice to get to watch one of these live. Yes, hello. Welcome. We're kind of almost done. And I say we're almost done, but I mean, the backpack is going to take a few minutes, I am thinking. Just because it's another part that seems like it's going to be somewhat complex. So far, I mean, anytime where there's a left and the right side, like every part is specific to either the left or the right side, that it takes a few minutes because I had to keep double checking and making sure that I'm using the right piece. Okay. Next, these ones are all the same, right? Yeah, okay. So this, very difficult to comprehend construction here for this, but I think I got it. Goes like that. I guess besides the Hyper Mega Launcher, is there anything so far that seems better on the 2.0? No, I don't think so. Nothing that's like better about the 2.0, other than just like I was saying earlier, you may prefer the aesthetics of the 2.0, which I completely understand. It's certainly a different looking take on the design, right? So that's not that. Okay, yeah. Man, once again, as I'm finding out with this build kind of every step of the way, it's just a really different construction from any other version of the Zeta that I've built. So kind of, I was expecting it to be slightly different, but it's really kind of surpassed my expectations as to just how different the construction would be for this. It's like completely overhauled, and they went like completely back to the drawing board when they designed this. You can really tell. They're like, okay, so let's take what we learned from the 1.0 and the 2.0 and let's see how we can improve on that. And then somebody said, no, you know what, let's just start completely from scratch. Just ignore everything that we did on the past versions. If we're going to design this Zeta Gundam that can transform and do everything that we needed to do, how are we going to design it? And they just went like that. That's kind of the feeling that I get from this, to be honest. Because, yeah, it's so different. And fortunately, it seems to have worked. I mean, we could have a situation sort of like the Victory or the Pt.2, which, you know, I hate to rag on all the time because they're fine kits, but there's certainly two kits that stood out to me, and especially with them both being Ver.Ka, it makes them particularly noteworthy comparisons here. They're both kits that stood out to me as kits that had issues. Whereas with this one, I mean, you know, similar in that it's like a transformation heavy kit. It's doing fine, I think, so far. Sometimes new can be good. A fresh approach, I guess time will tell. Yeah, right. It's basically like, yeah, they had a design team that either had never worked with the 1.0 or 2.0, wasn't familiar with those at all, and was just told to just make this design how it needed to be, and they did it. And just, you know, some things came out to be, just because of the nature of the design, some things came out to be sort of similar, but a lot of it came out to be very different. Where is, oh, okay, we got to put this section together first. We'll see how the transformation goes. That's another thing that, you know, that is something that I will tell you guys that I'm a little bit nervous about, the transformation. Basically only because of how intricate everything is with this. And what I can assume at this point, having not done the transformation yet, what I can assume is that a lot of the transformation, and especially a lot of like how good or not the transformation ends up being, is kind of reliant on how everything fits and everything clicks and all that, right? So everything needs to fit properly and like click into place and secure into place, and, you know, be solid and, you know, look how it's supposed to look and all that good stuff. And with a lot of this being very delicate and like really super precise, that means like when you're moving sections around, I mean, like you may have this part that you know, it's a really, really small adjustment, but that needs to click into place. And if you don't do that, it's going to be super floppy. But as soon as you get that really tiny, like 1 millimeter movement of clicking that into the spot that it needs to be, then it's going to be super secure and like perfect. But you have to get it just right. That's what I'm kind of worried about with this, which is fine. It just, as a reviewer, honestly, it makes it difficult. Because, you know, I'm trying to do it, and I normally don't even attempt to do reviews like on camera, just because number one, I think that it's just really boring to watch the actual process of the transformation. Unless there was something really noteworthy to point out to you guys, I just don't like to bore you with just watching how the transformation works. I can just transform it and show you how it looks transformed. You know, usually, in most cases, the manual does a good enough job showing you how to do the transformation that you don't need like a step-by-step process showing, okay, here's how you do it. You just follow the manual, and it's as simple as that. But yeah, I still need to do the transformation. Like, if it was just me, if I was building this and I was not a YouTuber, I was not needing to review the kit, I would probably never transform it, to be honest. Just because, just for me, I would just want to just build it up, and then that's it. I'll just be done. So I only really review it just for the purposes of, or only really transform it for the purposes of the review. So kind of have to, but doesn't mean that it's easy to do always. Alright, so our last couple stickers are going to go here on the beam rifle. One of which, this part here at the front, we do not have a clear part for. But we do have a clear part for the main camera of the beam rifle, which I'm going to just put on right now. Okay. But the Ka design is so sharp. Yes. My issue with the Ka plus eventual P-Bandai Heavy Hyper Mega Launcher plus base stand will put it closer to $100 plus, makes the 2.0 seem like a steal. Yeah, and there's the issue, Goose, I think maybe you weren't around earlier when we were talking about this, but I have a feeling, I have a very strong sense that if and when we get the Hyper Mega Launcher out, and assuming that it's going to be a P-Bandai item, that it's probably going to be the 2.0 Hyper Mega Launcher just repackaged. And we'll probably have some new waterside decals for it to make it like match the Ver.Ka. But the actual kit, the mold of it, is going to be the same. And so, assuming that I'm right about that, yeah, it kind of goes even more so to your point. It's hard to say it's really worth it if that's what you want. So that's why I keep saying, like, you know, if the Hyper Mega Launcher is really important to you, just kind of consider which design you like more, and if it is the 2.0 design that you prefer, then I would say maybe you just go for that one. We got that and that and that. Yeah, definitely one of the perks of this one is the color separation. It's nice having everything in the proper colors and not relying on stickers whatsoever. Is a pretty cool aspect of this release. Sometimes, as we're noticing right now at the moment, sometimes getting those yellow parts in can be a bit tricky, but other than that, it all works well. Okay. Do you think that this Zeta Ver.Ka or the double Zeta Ver.Ka is better? Interesting question. I don't know. I think that yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of just up to you, but okay. So that locks. That's why that's like that. It's nice that this ammo pack here is also a single solid piece, and so you don't have any seam line on that, which is good. That when that extends, that locks into place there. Pretty cool. And the camera just goes on there. So the camera is not going to fold down, in fact. But let's see. Yeah, it's just on there like that. Interesting. The handle will fold. But that's that. And once this is collapsed, it seems like there's nothing like holding it in place. Once it's extended, it's clicked into place and it won't go back in easily. But once it's collapsed, there's nothing really holding it from just sliding out. That's different. All right, last couple things here. These are for that. Shield part is like this. Okay. It's quite tight there. All right. Huh? Okay. There's a little track. The track for this part of the shield was kind of difficult to figure out there for a second, but got that. And then once again in here in the shield, we've got the separate yellow parts. So we've got that nice color separation there. And gonna click onto there. Close up the top part. Like that. Okay. Am I missing a piece? It seems like I'm missing a piece. I-16. That's unfortunate. Nope, it's not hiding there. I-16. The eye runner is black. So let me see if I've got that here. I think I am missing a piece. And that probably what happened was that I didn't cut it off the runner. Probably did. Make sure it's not hiding somewhere. Should be a small little black square piece. That seems at the moment I'm missing it, so I'll have to see if I can find that. Unfortunately, I don't have the runners. The runners are already recycled, so if it is still on the runner, then it's definitely gone. But if it's somewhere around here, I'll see if I can find it. So don't know where else it might be. But it also seems to be, fortunately, a fairly inconsequential piece. But let's see, it's just this little part right here. And kind of goes right at, well, it may be more consequential than I thought. Let's see. That'll go in there. And this part goes over top of here. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be this little black spot right there. On the shield, there's a little black piece that's meant to cover up that part right there. That's gonna be missing. I'll see if I can find it, but I have a feeling it's not going to be found. That's a shame. Wouldn't be too difficult of a piece to have to scratch build. I mean, it's just a, like when it comes to like wanting to paint the kit, I mean, for just a out of box build here like this, obviously it's like, I mean, I could just scratch build a square little piece and then just paint that one little piece black, and then it would fit in just fine. Yeah, but especially when it comes to like painting the kit, that shouldn't be an issue at all. Just to put a little square piece of plot plate, or even, you know, whatever other kind of just square little detail or vent part or whatever else I might want to put there. So it's an easy thing to fix later on. But it's a shame that that's missing. Yeah, it's too bad. Darn. But there's our shield, much more angular, especially around here, than past versions of the shield, where this part tends to be a bit rounded. We've got the missile packs here, grenade launchers, sorry, I should say. Grenade launchers that plug onto the forearms, the beam rifle, a couple of different action-based stands, and our 1/100 scale figure, which, to be honest, is a little bit boring. Would have been nice if we would have had like an extra figure in there of somebody, like another character, an additional character from the series would have been cool. But yeah, so that's everything. Excuse me. The two action-based adapters are for whether you have it mounted as the mobile suit form or the Wave Rider form, I would imagine. Let me just double check. Yes, yeah, one's for the mobile suit form and one's for Wave Rider. Did you throw away the runners? Yes. Well, I mean, I recycled them, but yeah, anyway, the point is they're gone. Yes. I did not throw them in the trash, but I did throw them away in the sense that they went out with the recycling. So yeah, not the end of the world by any means. A very inconsequential part for the most part to have to replace if need be, but we'll cross that bridge when the time comes to it. I'll see if I can find it though. Those are the parts that I was cutting the nubs off of earlier today, and if I didn't see it earlier, that means it probably wasn't in there, and if it wasn't in there, that means I probably didn't cut it off the runner. So I don't know where else it might have gotten lost, unless it's like on the floor at my house, possibly. So we'll see. Anyway, yeah, it looks great. There's, I mean, there's kind of a lot to talk about. So I'm glad that I decided. I was not planning to separate the unboxing video and the review video. I was planning to just have it all in one, like I kind of normally do. Recently, I know I used to do unboxing videos and reviews separately, but more recently, I do them together. But for this one, I thought there's going to be a lot to talk about in the review portion, so I might as well do the unboxing separately, just to make sure that the video is not too terribly long. And I'm glad I did that, because there is going to be a lot to talk about, because I want to talk about everything about this kit, and then there's obviously a lot to talk about with, you know, comparing this with the 2.0. So we'll get to all that in the review. I'm going to be working on that tomorrow. Did it get stuck to your thumb like the eye sticker? Yeah, that's a good guess, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Unfortunately, yeah, it's a small black piece, so not an easy thing to see here on the black cutting mat. But you know, I'll look around for it. I don't know. It's not looking good. How do you feel about the anime accurate proportions? I mean, it's cool. It looks good. There's certain things that I like about it, and certain things that I prefer on the 2.0, just like aesthetically. Like I said, I like the level of detail on here, with it being fairly low in the like surface details. But like all the sharp angles and everything about this, just the mold of this, I really like a lot. Proportionally, I think, you know, for the most part, I kind of like the proportions of the 2.0 a little bit more. But we'll see. We'll see when we do some more comparisons and things. Has it warmed up to your perception of Zeta's design? Yeah, the Zeta's still not a design that I love by any means. But I think it's a good looking kit, definitely. It's very sleek looking, and I think just like the couple things that I just mentioned, the details, the sharp angles and everything, all kind of lends to the sleekness of the design, and I think that's much more apparent with this version than the 2.0. But again, it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. So, all right, guys, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to wrap it up, and I will have the review coming out for you guys soon, but I am also working on the next part of the Trash to Treasure series, so I've got that coming out for you guys. I will show you how that's looking. It's ready for paint, so I sprayed the primer on that. That's why you guys may have noticed the black paint on my thumbnail there. It's a black primer, because I was spraying the primer on that kit. So the Trash to Treasure build of the Masquerade Zaku 2 is ready for paint. So we'll hopefully start working on that tomorrow as well. But the main thing that I'm going to be working on tomorrow is the review of this guy. And just kind of the rest of the day just kind of depends on how long that takes. But okay. All right, guys. So time to bring out the vacuum cleaner. No, I'm so scared to vacuum in here. I really need to vacuum, especially like here in this office. It's just, the floor is filthy. I mean, you can imagine all the kits that I'm building and all the little nubs everywhere. But at the same time, I'm always nervous to vacuum, because I know there's probably something there on the floor that I do not mean to vacuum. Watermelon slice theme repaint. Maybe. Anyway, all right, that's it for today, guys. See you later. Looking forward to Tekka Toys review. Yeah, same. I'm also really looking forward to starting work on that. So hopefully next week I'll start working on that stuff too. So all right, guys, see y'all later. Bye bye.